everybody, and welcome to the inaugural, is that a word, right? Inaugural
Sure. Yeah.
Episode of Romantasy Roundtable, A Tale of Rick and Roses. I'm joined with my roses.
Amanda.
And Kim.
And this is our podcast book club. And we are going to be, gotta tell listeners what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be reading a book, and we're going to be reading only up to a certain number of pages, and we encourage you to read with us. And we are not pro podcast producers. We are,
Really?
well, I am. We are sitting in our office, my office.
It's not his office. It's our office.
It's sometimes my office. And we have decided to make our first book, A Tale of Blood and Ash.
I don't think
That's not
called
what it's
that.
called.
What is it called?
From Blood and Ash.
From Blood and Ash.
So, if you're listening to this now and would like to join with us, please read up to chapter 4. And
Well,
then
you're reading through chapter 3. You're reading chapters 1, 2, and 3. That's what this podcast is going to cover.
right, we're going to talk about chapters 1, 2, and 3. We're stopping at the beginning of chapter 4. We are all reading at the same pace since I'm a slow reader. Sorry. And we're going to gauge the pace. It'll probably go up and down, but if you would like to join us, please stop now. Read chapters 1, 2, and 3, and then join us in a discussion. So, we'll probably do some more background at some other later point in time, like why we're doing this. That's another podcast. But we've... no, that's another episode.
Got it.
So, Roses, we have read up to chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think so far? Do we like it?
Sure. I'm not crazy about it.
Mm-hmm. Why are you not crazy about it? Because I took some notes.
I didn't take any notes. Okay, well, first of all, we should talk about like what's happening.
Great. So, she was at a brothel bar.
Seems to be like it's got brothel energy.
Yeah. We
What
should
is
say
it?
her name is Poppy.
Her name is Poppy.
Persephone Poppy.
It's something
It's
else.
short
but
for
it's
something
Poppy.
else. None of us have the book in front of us right now.
Well, I have a Kindle. So... because I read.
Not sponsored. So yeah, her name is Poppy. She's the maiden.
And my question is, what is the maiden, guys? What is a maiden? Is there one? Are there multiple? Are there many? You said you thought she is the maiden.
I thought she is
She
the
is.
maiden, but then in the third chapter they talk about like when the last maiden was. So I'm just like I guess I'm interested in how frequently there's a maiden. You
What-
know, like is it first comparison of the podcast of the season, is it like Buffy the Vampire Slayer where once in a generation there's a slayer, but then like Buffy, spoilers for the first season, Loki dies for a second, and so there ends up being a second slayer. Like what's the deal with maidens?
Is she a high lady?
Are they slayers?
Is she slaying?
Does she slay?
Does she slay is the question. It's always a question. So, all right, so chapter 1, right? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because it's been about a week since I read chapter 1. But in chapter 1, she's just in the brothelish
What's
area.
it called? The red something?
The Red Robin.
Pearl.
Red Robin.
Yum!
Also not sponsored. What is it called? The Red Pearl?
The Red Pearl.
Right.
Red Pearl. Not to be confused with the Black Pearl. Which
Exactly,
Is
which made me think of that.
a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Or the Red Robin.
Which is a burger restaurant. They didn't have those where... Did they have Red Robins where you all came from?
I saw the commercial. I really wanted to go, but
I don't think they have Red Robins in Florida. Listeners, Rosebuds, are there Red Robins where you come from?
yum.
Where you come, yum.
Ooh, we're gonna have to work on that. But all right, so the end of chapter 1. So she's giving a little backstory, right? We're getting some little exposition of what's going on. Something about a maiden, don't know what that means, right? There's all this tomfoolery going on at the bar, but then someone comes up to her, like a girl. I think it was a girl, right?
Yep, a lady.
A lady, and talks to her. So like we don't know who that lady is, right? What's she doing? But she was like, "I'm gonna help you, or I'm gonna talk to you."
Some
And then-
kind of barmaid. She was
Yeah.
connected with the Red Pearl in some way.
And
Oh.
she seemed to know a lot about Poppy. Like, so whether she's like, Poppy was speculating that maybe she is a seer,
Yeah.
but maybe she just like knows a guy
And then she saw Victor. Victor
Yes.
walked into the bar.
who's like her bro.
That what it is?
Not
Like-
her. He's like her. He's like her.
Handler is kind of what I
Honestly,
thought of her.
I'm going back. She's a slayer. He's the watcher.
All right. So Victor comes in, and she was all like, "Oh my God, Victor's at the bar." He's like, he's been to get his, right?
I hate when you do that.
No, but she was like really surprised.
Yeah,
like, oh my
she
God,
was like surprised to see him.
right. So I guess it's a thing that she didn't assume that he did, or maybe the Red Robin is. It's not called Red Robin, isn't it?
Nope,
Red
don't tell
Pearl.
him.
Right.
I mean, I'd be really surprised if I walked into the Red Robin and someone that I knew was there.
Yeah.
But then also it's like, why am I there?
But also, he wasn't in the main room of the Red Pearl. He went into the still unclear what the secondary room was that might have been dancing,
Like
might
the
have
VIP
been
room.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Quote unquote dancing.
So
Right.
he wasn't in the bar.
Yeah.
He was in the champagne room.
Yeah. There you go.
He was not in the private rooms upstairs.
And a little backstory. These two that I'm pointing to with my thumbs right now are much smarter than me. So all this whole Red Robin thing, that's not an act. This whole podcast came about because I was jealous that they were talking about a book and I wasn't involved in that conversation. And that book was ACOTAR. And I read it and I just be acting the fool.
Yeah, take a shot every time Rick underestimates himself.
Thanks.
And also, he just ruined our next episode when we were going to give the backstory.
Oh, we're getting there. Don't worry. We have 2 chapters to talk about. All right. So, anywho, so she gets to the end of the chapter and like she's hiding from Victor, and she goes into a room.
She gets sent to a room
by Rando Girl.
Yeah.
the lady.
Right. And then someone grabs her. Dum dum dum, and we don't know what's gonna happen.
That's the end of the first chapter.
That's in the first chapter. So, chapter 2, we find out that the person who grabbed her was, I guess, a guard that she knew, right?
Which is Victor a guard too?
Unclear, possibly.
Yes, but he
He's
didn't
like-
come off the rise.
Yeah.
Hawk, who is the new character that we meet, who grabbed her in the room, came off the rise.
What's
What
his
is the
name?
rise?
His
Hawk?
Hawk, yeah.
Like the bird. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
Caw-caw.
He's a predator.
Oh, look at that.
Heavy-handed.
What is the
Also,
rise?
this series has 9 books, and this lady has written approximately 715 other books.
Wait, really?
She be writing.
Nice. Love that.
Just putting that out there.
We finna be reading. That's what I'm just saying.
And also, we got Spice in the second chapter.
We
yeah,
did.
right. That's what. Okay, so Rick and I were reading. We went to a conference last week, and we were reading By the Pool, which, if you know, is an elite form of reading. But Rick had never done that before because he's new to reading. He also didn't know anything about bookstores. We'll get back to that.
Guys, they sell books there, and like they're profitable.
Yeah, and they're like cute and cozy. I was like, Rick, what do you do when you like go to a little town and you like go to the little street and you like go in the little shops? And he was like, what?
People
I don't
don't
know.
do that.
I does not compute. Does not compute.
We'll get there, guys. I'm learning. All right.
He's doing great. So we were reading By the Pool, and we're in the second chapter. And I turned to him and I was like, I don't understand. Like, slow burn who? Never heard of her. Like, we are gonna bone in the second chapter.
Yep.
But then
It was close.
it was close.
It was close.
It was closer than I would have gone in the second chapter.
It was
Not me as a character, but me as a writer, because I'm a writer now. Apparently, I'm not.
No, you're a writer. We can be whatever you want. You know, it's 2025.
Dreams come true.
So here are my 2 big takeaways from chapter 2 moving into chapter 3. Well, chapter 2, I guess. Yes, also surprised by... I mean, it wasn't like as spicy as it could get, but yes, there was some explicit action.
She was ready.
She was hot and
ready.
for sure.
You know,
She was gonna give him the soup.
she was giving him the soup.
Mm-hmm.
She had the ladle ready to go.
She wanted the soup, that's for sure.
It's a long time Rosebuds.
You know that.
Shouts out to them.
But also, since we're talking about the writer as well, the most like insipid dialogue takes place between Poppy and Hawk also. And I was like, if we have to read this for the next 9 books, this is going to be problematic.
It's gonna be rough. I
Like,
felt
Poppy's
similarly.
dialogue with other characters seems to be okay. But like, yeah, in the bedroom, not good.
Agreed.
So, I mean, one of the reasons I actually chose this book for us was because I just finished, the ACOTAR series, didn't know where to go from there because reading is cool, guys. And I did a whole bunch of homework, and it seems that this is the series that people go to after that book. I don't know, maybe. But apparently out of the 9 books, 5 are of this storyline and 4 are prequels, and those are supposed to be very good.
Yes, and I will say, with The Rosebuds as my witness. I'm committed to finishing this book.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to have to sell me on reading more than one of them.
Well, here's the problem. I hear that the next two are good, but I hear that the prequels are insane. Like, insanely good.
So it takes her book 4 before she gets into everything.
I'm just telling you what I've read, because I'm a reader now.
Is this Star Wars?
Also, isn't the prequels a different series?
I don't know the answer. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. So, all right. So, chapter 2, right? We're finishing. Kim, I'm gonna need your help with this because you just read chapter 3 yesterday. But we're wrapping up chapter 2, and he gets called by, I guess, his boy, and he's like, "Yo, we gotta go. They're coming." And so he goes outside, and he's like, "Girl, I need you to wait here for me." And she was like, "Nah, I'm leaving." So she left, and then she went back home, and her.
Well, she didn't tell him she was leaving.
She didn't tell him she was.
But she did leave.
She did leave.
And she didn't see the lady who led her upstairs on
Or
her way
Victor.
out.
Or Victor. And then she gets home, and it's not her sister. It's like her maiden. No, she's the
It's
maiden.
lady-
It's a lady in waiting.
Right. I have many questions. Here we go. It's a lady in waiting. What does that mean? I don't know. You said you knew.
I think it's like I didn't look it up purposely after you asked me this question because then I started to doubt myself, but I think it's like in like princess times, they're like women of somewhat status whose their job is to hang out with the princess.
All right.
Yeah, it's like mandatory friendship.
Mandatory friendship.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Like what happens in this office.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like Rick.
What?
Right.
This is my office. So, okay, what did I took some notes, and I said, oh, her name is Tawny. And the only thing that I wrote about that was dead. She's dying. She's dying, guys. Tawny's dead. I don't know when. I don't know how it's going to happen. She's dying. She's not long for this earth. All right? She will die.
Does she ascend?
I don't know what
She
that
is-
means.
She's gonna ascend.
Yes.
What
they
does
did
that
say
mean?
that.
What does this mean to ascend?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay, but it means a thing.
There
we
are
know-
a lot of terms that were thrown around that have not been explained.
Rise, maiden, ascend.
Yeah.
Right. I wrote what.
There's some gods, lowercase g gods.
Right, and like you like don't always worship them or something, or
And
something like that.
There's
and
a
when you ascend, you may or may not get approved by them.
there's a prince who's like a pretender to the throne.
Right. The dark one is calls himself the prince.
He's totally the good guy. Absolutely the good guy.
Like Snape vibes.
I don't want to spoil Akatar, but that second book guy. Well,
Riz.
yeah, him.
He's not Riz because Hawk is Riz.
Yeah, but he's gonna be the good guy. We're gonna think he's the bad guy because they're telling us he's the bad
I
guy,
disagree.
but
I
he's gonna
think
be.
Hawk
The good guy.
came in too early.
But he's the guy in the description on the back of the book.
But so is
I didn't read
Tamlin.
it.
Oh, she's giving me the silent nodding. There
I
it
don't
is.
know. I hadn't thought about that.
That's right.
Spoilers for Akatar, I guess.
So I wrote in my notes, WTF is a rite in ascension, because I don't know what that means.
Well, rite is like a ritual.
Obviously.
Ascension means to go up.
Here's another thing, actually way back from chapter 1. She's got some powers.
Oh yeah, that's a little unclear. She's like an empath.
Right.
She can like feel people's feelings. Yeah, pain.
And I think this, okay, so I actually don't know much about this book or this series, but what our friend has told me, she was like, oh, I'll read with you guys, but I didn't necessarily start it because I'm not too into vampires. So I think this book is about vampires.
I had heard that there's some vampire-y stuff.
So is she a vampire? Does she become a vampire? What do we think? Is she one right now?
Is that what happens when you ascend? You turn into a vampire?
Oh.
Right.
And she's got scars.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh,
those
yeah,
are
she's got
referenced in chapter 2.
Yeah.
That she's got
And her whole family.
scars on her torso and scars on her legs.
Her parents are dead.
Her parents are dead.
But her brother, his name is Ian.
Forgot about that guy.
I want to know what's going on with Ian. That's my question.
He's not going to die. Tawny's dead, though.
I think Ian's gonna die.
Yeah. Who do you think's dying? Is Hulk going to die?
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be super spicy for long. I feel like he's the intro spice, but not the long-term burn.
Not the long-term spice. It's not the long-term pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit of spice.
Just a little bit.
All right. So
What's the palate?
I don't know. So we only read to chapter 3. I think that's kind of all that. Did I miss a thing?
No, yeah, in chapter 3, it's just Tawny and Poppy talking about the Ascension. It seems like Poppy trusts Tawny. She tells her stuff. They get into mischief together. They seem like besties beyond mandatory bestying. That's it. Oh,
And she tells her she went to the Red Pearl, so...
But she doesn't tell her about the stuff with Hawk or Victor. She just tells her she's there.
I did also highlight some things, I guess. Kim, you were talking about the scars. When they were getting a little spicy, she says, and I quote, and when he felt the uneven slices of skin scattering along my stomach and thighs, would he jerk away his hand in horror. So, yeah.
In what?
Horror.
Oh my god.
In what?
Horror.
That's a dance
Like
that they do at Jewish weddings.
Like when she looks in the mirror. Right?
Go on.
And, oh man, this is not fair. I have to do this again. And then I also wrote, not when, I don't know, I have no idea what I wrote, marked this about, but not when they were proof of the horror I'd survived. So what did she survive?
Right.
So we have to learn that.
I think it's about her parents dying.
Got it. Okay.
That's what I
But
think.
is it part about her becoming the maiden also?
Right, is she like
being
destined to
chosen?
be the maiden from birth? Does she
Right.
find out later? Is she the Slayer? Who is her watcher?
Yeah.
Vampires.
Vampires, there it is. There's a connection. This is actually the prequel to Buffy.
This is the prequel to Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk is
The blonde guy. Animal.
Spike.
Spike. There it is.
and Victor is Angel.
I think that's all we got for chapters 1 through 3, right?
So here's, I will put this out there now.
Mm-hmm.
I know we are very early in this book. So I have little hope for this book, but for the future, I would love there to be an attractive protagonist who is over the age of 20.
That
Yeah, you know,
So, like, meet me in the middle. Can we find somebody who's 30? Can we
I
find somebody who actually has life to talk about rather than, again, like this...
right, like the naivete.
Right.
actually 100% agree with you because I am listening to book 1 of Akatar, which is the book, right? But like I forgot that like it's in like chapter 1 where they're like blah 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 Farah and I'm 19 years old. I'm like, oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
That changes a lot of the other books for me.
But then she becomes immortal, but she's still only 19 years old.
Right, she's still only
Everybody
19
else
years
is
old.
like 500.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, your life is so hard. Even though we're immortal and we've had hundreds of more years for, like, trauma to happen.
All right, so like let's commit to something now. We are not going to really have a I'm going to try to maybe put this out every Monday. We'll see. That's one.
Today's Thursday.
I know.
Okay.
I'm a professional podcaster. All right? I know what I'm doing. So
That was a direct contradiction to what we started this episode by saying.
when I say professional podcaster, everyone, I am not. Oh, that's our bell.
And
Guys,
time.
that's our bell. So that's time for us to
Wait,
stop.
we gotta ask the question.
What's going to happen
What's
next?
gonna happen next?
Ooh, wish I knew. So somebody once told me, somebody came to Poppy and Dead Girl and was like, you gotta come now or we gotta go somewhere, right? Isn't that what the last thing that happened? Anyone?
I don't remember.
All right.
I know.
Oh, I have the book right in front of me. So let's see. I was right. Look at that. Let's see. So somebody came to them. We've been summoned, he said, and my heart lurched in my chest. There were only 2 reasons why we'd be summoned. One would be the Duke, and the other was equally as terrible, but a far, far different reason. And then he says, there's a cursed.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's like some mist and some curses.
Right.
Vampires are coming. Vampires are coming right now.
On the other side of the rise.
Riz. His name is Riz.
No, the rise.
The
is
rise
the,
seems to
like-
be a structure.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Wall, the
Yeah, like the-
fortress, whatever.
All right, so they're going to go and they're going to find some So the cursed is a vampire, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
The cursed is a vampire. They're going to go and the vampires are going to be bad and they're going to kill them, right? And, you know, later on in this book or next book, we're going to find out the vampires are actually the good guys.
Okay.
And she's gonna see Hawk pretty quickly, and he's gonna recognize her eyes.
Yep.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
for sure gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And then she's going to be like, I still got this ladle.
Hate it.
Holding it up.
Come get this soup.
What do you think? You got nothing yet?
I think that something's going to happen between Tawny and Poppy that's going to drive a wedge between them. I don't think Tawny is going to die, but I do think like one of them ascends or something, and I'm getting like frenemy vibes.
Yeah.
All right.
Their paths are gonna diverge in some way.
Yes.
In a wood?
Two paths diverged in the wood.
I read,
In the
guys.
mist.
In the mist. In the mist! The vampires.
Isn't that a movie about gorillas?
What?
Into the Mist?
Gorillas?
I think so.
It's a documentary
Thank you.
About gorillas?
about gorillas. Yeah. He's not wrong.
There it is. We're going to be hearing
He's
that.
usually wrong. Not this time.
Not this time. So, all right. Two things. Number one, if you are listening to this on YouTube, actually, no. If you're listening to this on your podcast service of choice, go to the YouTube channel to drop us a comment now because I want to make a Gmail account for us. There's our second bell. We're late for class. All right. So
None of us teach right now.
that's fine. So let's see. If you're listening to this on your podcast service of choice, head over to the YouTube channel, Romantasy Roundtable. If you're listening to this YouTube channel, also do the following. Drop us a message down in the comments below. I should have said this in the beginning, but that's okay. We're getting there. Drop us a message down in the comments below. Let us know what you thought of chapters 1 through 3. Right? We'll cover that in the beginning of the next episode for all of those of you who are not listening, right? And let us know where you think it's going to go. We'll also cover that in the beginning of the next episode.
And what you think of our hot mess of a commentary here?
That's great. That's terrible. The whole point of this is there's no point. That's our
it.
theme.
And let us know who our sponsors for the next episode should be. Not Red Robin.
Our sponsor,
Okay.
yes. Oh, is that this week's sponsor? Red Robin?
Red Robin is this week's sponsor.
Yum.
Yum.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, like a fool, I didn't give us homework. So for next episode, we are going to read the next 3 chapters. So that's going to be chapter 4, 5, and 6. Happy reading. Hey everybody, like a fool, I didn't give us homework. So for next episode, we are going to read the next 3 chapters. So that's going to be chapter 4, 5, and 6. Happy reading.